it's like two individual people have to know what they need and be able to communicate that to the other person to receive it. But it's not equal. Some people have a lower threshold for things. So some, let's say affection, right? Everybody loves affection. That's a standard one that we can use. But some people like more affection than others, right? So the woman may be like, I need you to be all over me. I need you to kiss me. I need you to hug me. I need you to do this. I need you to do that, right? And the man might be like, yeah, I just need sex at the end of the night. I don't really need anything else. I don't really need, all the public displays of affection. I don't need you to be, giving me flowers. I don't need you to be all up on me all day. Like, I'm actually cool with that. All I need is sex at the end of the day. So realistically, he has to put in a lot more effort. He has to constantly be giving her, attention and affection and all that for her to feel the same as him just receiving sex at night. And it's way less effort. All she has to do is, live her life, do her thing, and then at night have sex with him. For example, right? So although their satisfaction may be equal, the amount of effort it takes to satisfy her versus him is not equal. And that's just going to be the case in all situations in life. So there's no equality amongst humanity, really, but especially within the context of a relationship, there is no equality. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marvel the Matter back with another video. And today what I'm going to talk about is the myth of equality in relationships, man. The myth of equality in relationships. So I had a really, really good little back and forth conversation with one of my subscribers a couple of days ago, where we would basically, he responded to my choosing signals video. It was a couple of videos ago. And in that video, I talk about how essentially when a girl gives you really strong choosing signals, like she's showing you that she's really interested in you by either walking up and talking to you, smiling at you, giving you really engaging eye contact, anything where she's engaging with you, then that's a strong choosing signal. So if she's giving you those, then that means she sees you as very, very attractive, right? She's kind of pedestalizing you, and that's what's making her, respond to you in that way. So she sees you in a certain light, and you want to keep that. You don't want to bring yourself down to her level, because then when she realizes that, she no longer sees you like that. And as I'll explain later in the video, that's not, although it may seem like, yeah, that's a good thing, we want to see each other as equals, we don't respond to that the same way, right? A woman wants her man to be kind of like better than her. And a man kind of wants to be better than his woman, like just plain and simple. That's just kind of how it is. So the subscriber asked me, he's like, hey, yeah, like I see all this, like it makes sense. You want to keep the leverage in the beginning, but once you get into the relationship, don't you want to be equals? Don't you how do you achieve that? And I initially said, no, you don't really want to be equals. You kind of want to just keep that the whole way, because, you're going to have to be a challenge to her. Like a woman, the way she responds is like, if you're a challenge to her, if you're not a challenge to her in the sense that, and this is what he thought, not in the sense that you're just being difficult, but in the sense that she knows that there's something she has to put into the relationship in order to keep you. You're not just there because she's so pretty and so beautiful. This is why when you put a woman on a pedestal, it doesn't work. Because when she's so beautiful and so amazing, and that's all she has to really do is just exist and look the way she looks in order for you to be completely devoted, completely invested, completely, when there's such a low bar of entry or easy bar of entry as beauty, then you won't keep her. You won't keep her attention. You won't keep her invest. There's nothing for her to invest because she has everything without you investing anything. So without that necessary investment, she's not going to care about it. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are super handsome, that might keep you there longer. If she's really attracted to you, that natural attraction will keep her there a little bit longer. But regardless, human nature tends to take things for granted when they're there long enough and require little effort. So my response was, yeah, well, you have to be a challenge to her. And he thought I was saying you have to just be difficult. So he is like, well, it's kind of weird that you would just have to play games for your whole relationship. That's not really, a good relationship. And if that's been your experience, then you've probably been a woman that didn't really see the value in the real you, or kind of like it was a certain type of woman that you were just with. And my response to that was, well, I don't think it's that. I think it's more, first of all, there's no equality in relationships, right? That the question in itself was kind of flawed, because equality doesn't exist. This is something I said to him. Equality as a concept doesn't exist outside of a mathematical context. There's no such thing as equality. The only time you can have equality is when you measure something. So that's within the context of math. And even when you're measuring things, you have to be able to find a standard unit that they can both be measured by, right? So I'll break it down. With human beings, you can have the same stimulus, right? You can have a certain thing that happens. Different people, even of the same gender, are going to respond to that thing differently. So there's no standard unit of measurement to measure how things affect people. And that's amongst the same gender. Now you go men and women, and they respond to things in sometimes the complete opposite way. So the example I gave him was when a woman has a husband, right? And her husband makes more money than her, and he's more successful than her, and he's doing his thing. She's happy about that. That's like, oh my gosh, I found a good man. Oh wow, I found such a really good man. He's doing so well. He's so successful. He's making so much money. He can take care of us. I don't really have to do much financially. This is amazing. I feel great. I'm a winner because I found this guy. Now you flip that and you have a man whose wife is way more successful than him, makes way more money, gets way more notoriety than him, and is just in a way better position in life than him. That man is going to be depressed. The man is going to feel bad. He's going to be like, wow, look at me. I'm a loser. My wife is doing so much better than me. It's just, and you can say no, I'd be happy if my wife made money, whatever. But that's just not true. There might be some very few men, who are like, okay, yeah, I'll just be a stay-at-home dad. I'm so happy about that. Cool. But most men are going to feel emasculated in that situation. They're going to feel bad. They're going to feel depressed. They're going to feel like, I don't really serve a purpose here. I'm a loser. The same situation, a person's partner is doing way better than them, but they respond completely differently. So just because of things like that, there can never be equality in a relationship, because how do you measure how I'm affecting you versus how you're affecting me if we respond differently to different stimuli? So equality doesn't even exist within the context of a relationship. So that's the first thing. Secondly, like I said, there are different needs for both parties, right? There's different needs that men have and different needs that women have. So you can't equalize that. So there's no way to measure, if the treatment is equal, and there's no standard unit of measurement, right? And the different things that are required, right? So there's no way to measure it, and there's no standard action, right, for us to do for each other. Is providing for the family the same as being a caretaker? Is that actually equal? There's no equality. And then the positioning, right? The woman is actually in a happier position when her man is, doing more. And a man feels better when his woman is doing less. So is that equal? Right? It just doesn't, it can't exist, right? So it's not a good way to look. There's no equality in a relationship. It's like two individual people have to know. It's like two individual people have to know what they need and be able to communicate that to the other person to receive it. But it's not equal. Some people have a lower threshold for things. So let's say affection, right? Everybody loves affection. That's a standard one that we can use. But some people like more affection than others, right? So the woman may be like, I need you to be all over me. I need you to kiss me. I need you to hug me. I need you to do this. I need you to do that, right? And the man might be like, yeah, I just need sex at the end of the night. I don't really need anything else. I don't really need, all the public displays of affection. I don't need you to be giving me flowers. I don't need you to be all up on me all day. Like I'm actually cool with that. All I need is sex at the end of the day. So realistically, he has to put in a lot more effort. He has to constantly be giving her, attention and affection and all that for her to feel the same as him just receiving sex at night. And it's way less effort. All she has to do is, live her life, do her thing, and then at night have sex with him. For example, right? So although their satisfaction may be equal, the amount of effort it takes to satisfy her versus him is not equal. And that's just going to be the case in all situations in life. So there's no equality amongst humanity, really, but especially within the context of a relationship, there is no equality. So after explaining that, I'm like, okay, now back to, the games, like playing the games and keeping the leverage. I'm like, no, you don't have to play the games. All you have to do is let her know, hey, if she sees you in that light, which she wants to see you in that light, because like I said before, women want to see you as better than them. They want to feel like they got a catch, and the way that they have a catch is different than the way we have a catch. The way they have a catch, the way they they're like, I got a good one, is if you're better than them. You're able to do more. You have more access to things. You have more success. You have more notoriety. You have more of all those types of things, right? So they need to be looking up at you. Your woman needs to admire you in order for her to be like loyal and devoted and love you. She has to look up to you in some type of way, right? So that's why I say when you have that leverage, when she comes into the situation looking up to you, be yourself, right? But don't bring yourself down to her. Don't downplay yourself and try to even it off. I'm like, no, I think you're so beautiful. And I think, no, I'm just me, but you, like, don't bring yourself down, right? Don't make it equal. Keep that like, yeah, I am, I am me. I feel great. You know what I mean? A man operates better from that position. When a man is like obsessed with a woman, he doesn't operate well. You know what I'm saying? When he's so devoted to the woman, he doesn't operate well. He does silly things. He makes mistakes. He's not focused on what he needs to do in order to be the guy that she likes, right? A woman can focus on her man because it doesn't require, the things he's expecting from her don't require as much focus, don't require as much dedication. Aside from, raising the kids, which will naturally come to her, like she'll naturally be dedicated to that. Her focus will shift from him to them, which is exactly what he needs, right? Because the things that he is looking for in her don't require her to be so focused on other things. Whereas what she requires from him, it's a necessity for him to be focused on other things. He has to be focused on his work in order to be the guy that she sees that makes money, that's able to provide. So he has to focus elsewhere. She has to focus on him for him to feel like, oh, she's giving me the things that I need from a woman. If she's focused on other things, he's kind of like, this is not really a helpmeet. This is not really a person that is my, my rib or how I'm describing it in biblical terms, but a man basically wants his woman to support him. She's not really supportive if she's focused on other things. If she's focused on her own things, she's not really supportive. So what they're asking for is different, and based on what they're asking for, the man needs to be in a position where his woman can look up to him and he be the one on the pedestal. It just flows better that way. It flows better that way. In other situations, and when it's the reverse, we see what men do. We see the mistakes they make. They getting in fights over their girl. They're doing all types of things. They're not focused on their work. Bad things happen when a man is overly focused on a woman. But when a woman is overly focused on her man, she's seen as a great woman. When she can ignore all the other guys, when she can ignore all the other, distractions and support her man, that's traditionally, now it's a little bit different, but traditionally that was always seen as a good woman, right? And men, no matter what they say, no matter how progressive they are, men want a woman that is going to support them. And women want a man that will be able to care for them and provide for them, right? Provision and support. That's what we're looking for from each other. So a woman can't support a guy that's not higher than her. She's providing if he's lower than her. It's opposite. So this is why you need to keep that leverage. And as far as games, like I said, you're not playing games. You just need to come to the relationship like, okay, this is what I need from the relationship. And if I don't get these things, I'm not going to be in this relationship. You don't have to say it as bluntly as that. You can, flower it up if you like, but essentially you need to communicate that to her so that she understands. And that's the way that you'll be a challenge to her. She'll know I have to do certain things. There's certain things that he's requiring from me in order to be with me. And she should have the same, right? Eventually I realized that's the only way it can be equal is if both parties have, requirements or a standard, and they communicate that to the other person. They're like, hey, I won't be here if these things are not met. And the key ingredient is that the man values the woman enough to live up to those standards, and the woman values the man enough to live up to his standards. And that is the equality within a relationship. But the equality as far as treatment, behavior, all these things go, it will never be equal because there's too many different variables. There's too many things that, there's too many differences amongst people in general in order for there to really be equality, right? So that's the conversation we basically had. I thought it was really insightful. I thought it would be very, useful information for people to have going into dealing with somebody, going into relationships. It reinforces what I was saying in that other video about keeping your leverage when a girl sees you in a certain light. And this kind of gives you a deeper reason why, not just, for your ego. It's not just for your ego. You know what I'm saying? It's so that she can actually like you. A woman is not going to like you if she can't admire you. She's not going to love you long term. She's not going to look at you and be like, that's my man, and brag about you and talk about you. And they want to be able to do that. We all know that that's what they want to be able to do. Like, oh, look at my man. He did this. He's this. He's that. He's this. He does this for me. He's able to do this. He can do that, right? Men don't do that. We don't do that. We're not like, oh, my woman did this. She did that. She could do this. She could do that. She did this. Like, it doesn't carry the same weight. It doesn't carry the same weight because, like I said, the woman should be admiring you. This is why you should let the woman pursue the relationship. Back to one of my old videos, I talked about that. It's just how it goes. Like when we flip it and we try to do the opposite, that's why it's so hard to get women. That's why it's so hard. That's why there's game channels. That's why there was pickup artists. That's why all this stuff, it's so hard to get women because you're trying to get women that don't want you. That's why it's hard. Right? I'm going to do a video on that. That's why it's hard. I'm gonna explain that in more detail, but yeah, that's the video for today, guys. Let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. Drop some more topics in the comment section. Let's have some more discussions, some more conversations. I think things like that are good, and they good ideas and good video concepts spawn out of those. And we're all growing, learning from each other. I'm not always right. There's people who bring up points that I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I never thought about it that way, and I can share that and give my perspective on that. So yeah, fellas, I got my coaching calls in the description box, which, by the way, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes y'all have questions and I can't answer them in the comment section. Even through email, I can't really answer everything because there's so much information that I need in order to get, a real and give you a genuine, real answer. I can give a general answer, but I have to know, it has to be based on you. Everything is situational. I can't give the same advice to two people because they're in two different positions. You know what I'm saying? They respond to things differently. I got to see how the girl specifically is responding to them because there's differences in how women respond slightly. You know what I'm saying? So there's just a lot of variables and a lot of details that I need in order to give accurate information. So that's what the coaching calls are for. So if you have real questions and you really want to know, you know what I'm saying, you really want some help with your situation, your specific situations, hit the consultations. We'll talk about it a little bit, and then we get to the coaching calls and we'll fix it. All right. And then I also got my Instagram in the description box, and y'all know what it is. It's Mind Over Matter, Marvel Over Matter. Let's get it.